Good morning and welcome to Super Sunday Club. How are you? I hope you've had a good week and you're looking forward to some different activities this morning together. So, I'm going to start off with a little quiz today and I'm going to show you little pictures. And they're pictures of objects. And you've got to guess what they are. Easy. Well, except I'm only going to show you a very small part of the object. So, here's the first one. What do you think this is? Give you a little clue. Some quite sweet, something tasty. Yeah, strawberries. Did you see that? Well, you can see the little seeds and a little bit of the green tops of the leaves. Let's try another one. Now, what do you think this might be? So it's just a very small part of it. This one's not something for eating. It's a paper clip. Did you get that one? Okay, let's try another. What do you think this might be? It's very bright and colourful. Certainly attracts the bees and the butterflies. Yeah, a sunflower. I love when you see a whole field of sunflowers. They're just beautiful, aren't they? What about this one? This is something that you probably use quite a lot. When I first saw this, I found this one quite hard. Once you see it, it'll all make sense though. You got it? Yeah, it's a pencil. Just that sort of middle, just before the tip of the pencil. This one I know a lot of you like, definitely. It's something else quite tasty. Do you know what it is? I won't give you too many clues. It's an Oreo biscuit. Yes, I knew you would like that one. Let's try another one. This one, not quite so tasty. Although, to be honest, I've never tried, but I believe you can. Do you know what it is? Might see him in the garden. Yeah, a snail. Yes, very good. Let's try another. It's the last one. What do you think this one is? It's quite hard to give you a clue to it. But something to keep you clean. Have you got it? Yeah, soapy bubbles. Well done if you got some or all of these correct. They're not easy. So today's story, we're going to hear about a man called Paul. And Paul didn't always see things very clearly. He had a very narrow view of what God was all about. And actually, what he really needed to do was to meet Jesus, to have his eyes opened, to see the full picture and understand who Jesus is and why he came. So today's video is all about Paul. So enjoy the video and we'll have a chat once it's finished.
The Miracle of Mercy. Paul. This is Saul. Saul was a Pharisee who hated the followers of Jesus so much that he would hunt them down to be brought to trial in Jerusalem. And he would even seek to murder them. Saul was uttering threats with every breath, and he was eager to kill the Lord's followers. So he went to the high priest. He asked him to write a letter to the Jews in Damascus that would allow him to arrest any Christians he found there. He wanted to bring them, both men and women, back to Jerusalem in chains. Now Saul went on his way. And as he came near Damascus, a light from heaven flashed around him, and he heard a voice that said, "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" Saul cried out, "Who are you, Lord?" And the voice said, "I am Jesus. Rise and go into the city, and you will be told what to do." So Saul got up and he opened his eyes, but he couldn't see anything. So the men who were with Saul led him into the city. After 3 days, a man named Ananias came to Saul. He put his hands on Saul, and immediately Saul could see again. And with that, Saul became a follower of Jesus. He became the very thing he had tried to hunt. And he immediately began telling people that Jesus is the Son of God, and he taught them about the mercy of God that he had received. And all who heard him were amazed. He then went by a new name, Paul, as he began preaching not just to the Jewish people, but to everyone. Despite many difficulties like being imprisoned, shipwrecked, and narrowly escaping death multiple times, Paul continued to preach about Jesus. Paul said that he would do everything he could to save people and help them know God. And that's just what he did in order to reach people who would otherwise be unreached. And many came to know Jesus because of what Paul said. Paul taught many in his day through his letters, but even more have come to learn more about Jesus through the letters of Paul that can be read even to this day.
What a change in a person. Paul, who starts off being called Saul, Paul, he had a powerful position, and he used that position to get rid of Christians. He didn't like them. He didn't like what they had to say, and he didn't want them around. Now, what an unlikely person for God then to choose to use for his glory. But that's exactly what he did. When Paul was on his way to find more Christians, on the road to Damascus, he met with Jesus in an amazing way. A light shone down, and he lost his sight as he heard a voice saying, "Saul, why are you persecuting me?" This was Jesus asking Saul, why was it that he was bullying and being cruel to Christians just because they were Christians? There was no reason for it. Saul's life changed forever on that day. His eyes were opened to who Jesus really was, and that meant he had to change the way he was living his life. So Saul, who became Paul, his eyes were opened, and he ran back to Jerusalem to tell the people. And instead of picking on Christians, he now started to try to convince people they should become Christians. They should follow Jesus because of who Jesus is. And at first, people were really suspicious of him. How could this man who was killing Christians suddenly be telling people about Jesus and how amazing he was? But slowly, the believers, the other followers of Jesus, began to realize that Paul really meant what he was saying. How did they know? Because of the way he lived his life. There was a real change in him. Instead of hatred, there was love. Instead of violence, there was kindness. And he was sharing about Jesus and telling people about what he did for them on the cross, and that he was now alive. And people didn't always like this. Some people chased him out of the city and told him to go away. They didn't like the fact that he had changed his life. But other people were so pleased to see how Paul had changed. And today in church, the adults have been learning about Acts 17. And that's when Paul goes to Thessalonica and he's taken in by a man called Jason. And Paul goes to the synagogue to tell people all about Jesus. But meanwhile, a mob starts to come together to get rid of him because not everybody wants to hear about Jesus. Paul had a lot of scary times, but he was never on his own. Jesus was always with him, and the Holy Spirit helped him and guided him. And you know, that's what Paul ended up doing, was encouraging other people. Because at some point, Paul was taken into prison, and he spent a lot of time there sending letters to people, encouraging them to keep going in their faith, not to give up. And we can read these letters today. They're in the Bible, and we can read them and still be encouraged by Paul's words. So my challenge today is thinking about whether we live our lives as followers of Jesus. If people can see in us Jesus, can they see our patience, our kindness, our gentleness, just like Jesus? And let's just finish with a little prayer there. And I just want to pray that would be seen in our lives. So Jesus, I thank you that you continue to be with us as you were with Paul and you were with Peter. So you are with us. Help us to live our lives for you. Help us to shine for you. Help us to show you to the people around us. And we're sorry for the times that maybe we don't get it right. But help us, we pray, in your name. Amen. So we're going to do a little craft today to remind us of this story and shining for Jesus. And for this craft, you're going to need the following things: some crayons, a piece of paper, some oil, vegetable oil, cooking oil, a little bit of cotton wool. If you don't have cotton wool, then a little bit of kitchen roll would do. And a very small little bowl to put the oil in. So why don't you try and get all these things together? Pause me just now and come back and we'll go through the craft together. Okay, have you got everything together? Excellent. So first thing I want you to do is to draw a picture on your paper. A nice picture, a happy picture. And I've drawn a picture of the sea and the sun and some birds in the sky. You could do anything at all. Maybe something just that reminds you of God. When I look out to the sea and sunsets, that always reminds me of God. Next thing to do is to colour it in. And make sure you colour it in well so it's quite deep colours. And then what we're going to do is get a little bit of oil. You just need a very small drop of oil into your little bowl. And then take your cotton wool or kitchen roll if you don't have any cotton wool and dip it into the oil. And then turn your picture over onto the other side, so picture down. And on the back of your picture, take a little dab of the oil and start dabbing it all around. And what you'll do is you'll start to see your picture coming through. Just a little bit of time. You don't need much oil, it's just a little bit. Wipe it over the back of the picture until your whole picture is coming through. Once you've done that, then hang it up to dry for a little bit. Now you shouldn't have much oil coming off it, but just be careful in case there's any drops that do come off. Hang it up to dry and leave it there for a wee while. Well, it depends how warm it is, but maybe about an hour. And then you'll see that your paper is now see-through. We can see the picture on both sides. And if you cut off the dark bits around the paper, I didn't put oil over the whole paper, just around my picture. If you cut off the dark bits, you now have a nice, bright, sunny picture that you can put on your window, and you'll have the light coming through in the picture, shining through on both sides. And that's just a little reminder of us shining for Jesus. Can we shine for him? And we're going to finish off with a song, and this is called Shine, from The Inside Out. And the words go, so the world can see you live in me. So I've put the link to the video on the Facebook page. If not, if you don't have that, then just Google Shine by Nick Jackson. Shine from the Inside Out Make sure it's the Nick Jackson version because there are some other slightly different songs. And then enjoy, you can put the actions in and enjoy doing the actions. And as you go through this week, hopefully you can shine for Jesus. And we'll see you again next week for next week's activities. Have a good week. Take care. God bless.